Last year, I devoted myself to reviewing as many animated TV specials as I could. Some were good, some were god-awful, but we made it through alive. But you know, I don't think I tortured myself enough with a docket like that. So what could I do in 2024 that would be much more painful? That's right, DCOMS! Nothing but DCOMS! It's no secret the Disney Channel original movies are the bane of the mouse-eared empire. Or at least part of the unholy trinity with tweencoms and the direct-to-video animated sequels. Either way, these movies have been infamous for cheap production and ridiculous to nonsensical stories. And they were released in droves around the turn of the century. I remember watching some of these when they came out, and of course I've reviewed a few of the bigger ones on TV Trash and otherwise, but it's time to really see, are these as actually bad as they've been made out to be? Only one very painful way to find out. But which one could I possibly start with? It's got to be among the most absolutely ridiculous of them all. London Tipton has to become a kung fu master to save the world? Hot dog, we have a wiener! So let's get this year started with Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior. We open somewhere in Mongolia, it looks like. So any references about what Disney looked the other way at to get the live-action Mulan made don't work here. It's here we see the distant cousin of Ang, okay, his name is Shen, being told he has to head to America to, of course, find the one person who is going to be counted on to save the world, because we all love a good destiny is forced on someone story, right? Cut away to our destined to be a hero, Wendy Wu, of course played by Sweet Life star and future Mrs. Culkin, Brenda Song.
Can you identify this mountain range in northern China?
Is it... Tell you tomorrow, Mr. Medina.
Are we sure she's not just playing London Tipton still? So yeah, Wendy Wu is a high school student who is obsessed with becoming homecoming queen and thus lashes out at anyone who dares even look at her rival that is not a stand-in for Maddie in any way, shape, or form.
Jessica Dawson is running against you for homecoming queen? Ever since second grade, everything I do, she has to do.
Thanks a lot.
Well, this one's mine. Nobody's gonna give her my vote for a stale cookie.
Really? 5 minutes in and you've got me pining for Brenda's old character. The thing about London Tipton was that she really wasn't a bad person. She was just a clueless, sheltered dolt. Wendy here is acting like a flat-out bitch bag, who seems to be developing martial arts prowess just because.
This is supposed to be my homecoming, and she's gonna take it away from me if I don't come up with a way to get more votes.
Look, honey, I understand how important this is to you, but the museum director is counting on me to put together this exhibit of ancient Chinese artifacts, and I'm getting stressed out because I don't know the history behind any of them.
And yet you became a museum curator.
You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna forget about homecoming for a minute and remember that there are some things more important in life.
You're chewing out your daughter about responsibility when you can't even handle the responsibilities of your own job! Am I going to get a likable character in this movie within the first 10 minutes? Cut to our boy trying to hitchhike because this was before the days of Uber and... You know what? That is a lot more efficient and cheaper. I'll give him props. Cut to Wendy's home, where we see once more that her mom is just as bad at begging her own mother for help as Wendy is.
Did a lot of the research, but I feel like I'm missing some of the folklore and legends.
I told you the stories.
I know you did, Ma, but I was too little to appreciate them.
Oh, and we do find out Wendy has a father as well, because the one-parent Disney rule never applied to DCOMS.
Don't be frightened. I'm a Buddhist monk from Jinji Mountain Temple.
Yeah, that is the opposite of what you say after "don't be frightened." So while Wendy does the logical thing and fights back the intruder with a dust mop, you know, like you do, we cut back to Night at the Museum if it was directed by Sam Raimi. So this thing has the ability to transmit itself to other people like a virus, and I would say no COVID jokes here, but all I can think at this time is, where is their 24-hour pizza delivery and how do I move there? Or maybe fried chicken, I saw that in Wreck-It Ralph too. With that, the possessed brother comes home to take out Wendy, but fortunately Bushido Boy was stalking outside and decides now is the time to sneak in. And all I can think of here is, one, for a DCOM, these effects are not that terrible, and two, how heavy of a sleeper is Wendy to not be woken up by Bruce Lee Jr. and Jackie Chan Jr. duking it out right in front of her? I will say this fight drags on a bit too long before the Karate Kid finally uses his magic medallion to get the demon to escape into the dog who runs off. And, well, that ends that, once again with our heroine having no clue. The next day is all about Shin trying to get Wendy to wear his medallion. Dude, you gotta start with flowers or candy before a girl will start wearing your jewelry. Wendy again does the smart thing and gets away in her friend's car, so naturally the guy does the logical thing and steals a kid's scooter so we can get the worst ripoff of the opening to Back to the Future ever.
Wendy!
Well, that was really weird.
Bizarre. I say we act like that never happened.
So says the entire audience. That day in gym class on the soccer field, Wendy is able to use her unknown powers to humiliate Blondie on the pitch, because let's go ahead and rip off Bend It Like Beckham as well.
I have been reincarnated many times over the centuries to assist the descendant of the Yin warrior to battle evil in the name of good.
You know, Yoda, this is already getting a little too Star Warsy for me.
See, I was gonna reference Buffy the Vampire Slayer myself. So yeah, much of the first third of the movie is Shin trying to talk to Wendy while the demon bounces back and forth between people to the point where you figure by the end of this, half the town is going to need therapy. And it's at around the 30-minute mark where I actually start siding with Wendy here. I've seen my fair share of high school gets told they're destined to be a hero stories or whatever, and this guy has been the absolute worst at trying to explain it to said kid. He's given her very little information so far as to what exactly this mission or destiny is, and expects her to just roll with it, when up to this point, her biggest problem was her homecoming rival hawking baked goods on the local news. Dude, I get that you spent your whole life in the mountains with nothing but other guys, so your ability to talk to a cute girl is gonna be worse than Cody Banks. But at some point, you gotta learn to be more explanatory and give her time to process all this. Naturally, the only way she agrees to go along with it all is when she finds out she needs to get her grades up in order to be eligible for Homecoming Queen. And once we finally get a training montage, this means things are about to pick up now, right? Nope! Because now we need to have a fashion montage and start building up a love triangle between Wendy, Shin, and Wendy's boyfriend, because we're trying to shoehorn in every aspect of a late 90s teen dramedy into 90 minutes. This leads to Wendy getting all jealous over Shin killing it at some random party, so she throws off his precious medallion, right, of course, when the demon who is now possessing her homecoming rival is right there waiting for her.
hot tub I've ever seen!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that should boil all of them alive or worse, but we just have to throw in even more pointless comedy, right? It's more than an hour into the movie that we finally get something halfway interesting as Shen introduces Wendy's other trainers in the form of the tiger, the snake, the leopard, the crane, and the dragon. But of course, all of them still take the form of old men, because you can't expect a DCOM to budget something like actual animated animals or anything. What do you think this is, Descendants? Wendy doesn't want to fight an old guy, so Shen has the animals possess her teachers so she can train by Mulan climbing up lampposts and turning into Hope Solo on steroids. By the way, by my count, this is now 3 training montages in the movie, and we only have 25 minutes to go. I don't even think the Karate Kid was padded with this much wax on, wax off. It's after that last one that Wendy's friends apparently get inside information that she won the homecoming vote. And of course, Shen now flat out says that Wendy's ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny is scheduled to take place on the night of homecoming. Yeah, we could all tell that was gonna happen, but you'd think the movie would at least try to give us some manufactured suspense. Wendy naturally has a problem with this and runs out on Shen, just as the demon has returned to the museum to raise their unholy army of the undead, and
the Lord of Darkness commands you to awaken!
you know, how is it that I still can't bring myself to rewatch The Gnome King from Return to Oz, but this just makes me chuckle? And again, I kinda have to side with Wendy on this one. Because what exactly was preventing them from having their final confrontation before the night everything is supposed to gain ultimate power? You know, get the jump on big evil before it's at its absolute strongest? And then you would have all the time in the world to party all night long? Trust me, as a writer, I know. Procrastination never leads to anything good. So Shen is forced to fight the evil army all by himself, but the still possessed teachers show up to drag Wendy to the battle and... Wait. So, the whole climax of the movie, which is again titled Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior, isn't even taking place at the homecoming itself?
Audience?
Incredibly stupid!
At least even Kim Possible ended with them having to fight aliens during graduation. This? You could have literally made this character into London Tipton herself, and it would have made just as much sense! We get nearly 10 minutes of they fight, and fight, and fight, and fight, and fight, before Wendy Hadokens the demon out of Blondie, and then just gives up her crown to her. Again, what was the point? Before the demon resurrects itself as a giant statue, because for some reason the movie thought we needed a fake-out climax. Wendy and Shin destroy it and the demon for good, and this somehow means Shin is now free from fighting evil for eternity, and the now clearly new lovebirds go off to get cappuccinos together with no idea how they're gonna tell everyone they're now a couple when she told everyone he was her cousin. The end. Man, I figured a lot of these Disney movies would be bad, but I had no idea this one would be this bad. It takes more than half the runtime before the main plot actually gets going. The villain is horribly underdeveloped, And just about everyone goes from having no personality at all to being completely unlikable. The thing is, if you gave this entire concept to Roger Corman, he probably would have made it 1,000 times more interesting. It's really sad because Brenda Song deserved better. She somehow managed to play a spoiled, brainless ditz on Sweet Life and make her enjoyable. And this was clearly meant to be her breakout role past that, and it was just botched so terribly. At least she has rebounded pretty well in the past few years, both with getting the role of Anne on Amphibia, and of course marrying Macaulay Culkin, so I guess good things come to those who wait. Appropriate that I get to mention that hubby of hers, because next time, we're delving into something with another famous star from the 90s. Prepare to have your fears of AI kicked into overdrive, everyone.